Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Coffee with Katie. I have my Spider-Man stoneware mug from Bones Coffee today and my sweatshirt from Jedi Kaylin, which says blow this pinks of junk out of the sky. Fantastic. So today's video is going to be my January TBR. Today is January 1st, 2024. It's upon us. It's the year 2024. It's the start of a brand new reading year. Is it bittersweet? Yes. But here we go. So let's just hope for some great reads in 2024 and in January. So I do have a video about this challenge in particular, but I am going to be doing a challenge this year. Again, I have a whole video dedicated to this. It should be up soon. But I'm participating, or I'm going to try to participate, in the Buzzword book challenge that Books and Lala is doing, because I did the 23 books to read in 2023 challenge last year, and it just ended up being a lot of books, and it was kind of stressful for me to try to fit them in, because I usually tap out at around 80 books a year, so that's like a pretty high percentage of books that I was forced to read as a mood reader. It's not like it was bad, but just like mentally it was a little bit difficult for me to pick the books and make sure they fit, and like sometimes I wanted to read a new release and I couldn't. I didn't have time, or I didn't have time to do other things because of those books, so I'm trying to eliminate that much pressure. But the Buzzword book challenge is 1 book a month, so I feel like that's a lot more doable. If I ended up hating it, or just like it's just not working for me, I can stop. I wanted to try to do it this year because I wanted to do something, but I knew that I couldn't do 24 books this year, so I was just trying to decide what to replace it with, and this challenge came up and I thought it might be a good thing to do, so we're gonna do that. But for that, everything is described in Books and Lala's channel, where she talks about this video, but also in my video that I did, I kind of explained the books that I'm going to be doing throughout the year. So for January, the Buzzword prompt is there. So there, and there, like the 3 different spellings of that. And I was struggling to find one about this, but I had been talking to you guys about mystery and thrillers that I wanted to read, and I decided to kind of maybe try Agatha Christie. So I decided for January I'm going to read And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. She is like the mother of murder mystery, and I think this is one of the most popular books that she's written, so I'm gonna give it a shot and see what I think. I've watched The Murder on the Orient Express, but that's the most experience I've had with it, or with Agatha Christie. Now, I really don't know anything about this. Maybe I should. I don't know if you guys have been on Goodreads today, but it's being slow. It's probably just adjusting to everything. So for this particular one, it looks like there's 10 people, a curious assortment of strangers summoned as weekend guests to a little private island off the coast of Devon. Their host, an eccentric millionaire unknown to all of them, is nowhere to be found, and all the guests have in common is a wicked past they're unwilling to reveal, and a secret that will seal their fate. And each of them has been marked for murder, and they find these like nursery rhyme type things in their rooms. It starts with 10 people, and one by one, the nursery rhyme talks about how they die, and then those things start happening to the guests, and the end of the rhyme poem is And Then There Were None. So the idea is that all of them are going to end up dead unless they figure out what to do, and so they're trying to figure out who's behind this, how to stop it, etc. So I think it'll be fun. I, again, have never read Agatha Christie, so I'm very curious to try this out and see if it's a murder mystery thriller type of thing that I will really enjoy, because I would like to get into those more, as I've said previously. So that's one of the books that I would like to read in January for that prompt. And the next one I would like to read is What the River Knows by Isabel Ibanez, and this is described as kind of like a mummy type story. It's a historical fantasy set in Egypt, which is super cool. I know it sounded really good. I got it in a fairy loot recently, but it is not here at the moment. It's in another room somewhere. And I know Becky from Bex Reads, she told me that this is her favorite book of 2023, so that's awesome. I would love to give it a shot. It sounds really good. Okay, and this says, the mummy meets death on the Nile in this lush, immersive historical fantasy set in Egypt filled with adventure, arrivals to lovers' romance, and a dangerous race. So that sounds fun. I would like to read that. So that is definitely on the docket as well. It's also, I got it in a fairy loot box, so it could be a part of the Spray Edges challenge in theory, but very excited about that. Another book that is kind of randomly decided I was going to read it because it came up on my Libby, and I've been meaning to get to this series for a very long time, and the new show prompted me a little bit, but I would love to read Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. This is a middle grade series I've been meaning to read for years. I bought John the first one 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and we both wanted to read it. Neither of us did. I really like Greek mythology, and I think this is going to be a really cool series to incorporate that, because sometimes when I've read Greek mythology in books, I've been really disappointed by how they took the story, like the Dark Olympus series or something, or Hades and Persephone retellings that I've read. But I think this is going to be really good and really fun. People praise Rick Riordan for his writing and the way he can like write these stories and these characters, so I'm very excited. I've never delved into his writing before, so I have Percy, Jackson and the Lightning Thief on deck from the Libby app for me to listen to, so I'm gonna be starting that. Like I said, I think I bought John the first one in paperback, but I'm not positive we have it anymore. We may have gotten rid of it at some point. I don't physically own any of them, but it's been one that has been on my brain and wanting to read for a long time. The synopsis, I would say, is just that you're following Percy Jackson, who finds out that he is a demigod, which means that he is the child of a god and a human. And then he ends up going to Camp Half-Blood, where all of these children gather and are trained for war? I'm not really sure the overarching plot of that, but they're going to this camp to be trained for war because they're not safe in the real world, because all of these monsters and dark forces will try to harm them. So I'm gonna read that, pretty excited about it. Like I said, I've been meaning to get to it for so long and just haven't, so now seems like a great time. And then of course, it's gonna be the end of January, so I'm loosely putting it on this one. It's probably gonna be at the end of January, beginning of February TBR for me personally, but that is House of Flame and Shadow by Sarah J. Maas. We all want to know what happens, whether we were happy or unhappy with how the series is going so far. We all just need to know. And I fall into one of those categories. I was really not a fan of the plot twist, the cliffhanger, the reveal at the end of House of Sky and Breath. I really don't like how the story is planning on going, but I have to know. I have to know. So I want to read it. I'm going to read it when it comes out. I feel like this is the only time where a Sarah J. Maas book has come out and I'm going to be immediately reading it, because I was always behind or hadn't read anything from her or didn't read the series, the first one or whatever. So this is kind of going to be one of the first times that I'm ever like reading it as it comes out. So I guess I'm excited, but I really don't know how I feel about it. I'm excited to get one of the characters that I love again, maybe, but it's in a weird way, so I really don't know if I'm excited. It's weird. I'm gonna read it. We'll see how it goes. If I hate it, I hate it. It's Sarah J. Maas. Like, I don't know, man. Sometimes I like her stuff, sometimes I don't. There's not really anything I can say about this book, but it's the third book in the Crescent City series, and the first one is following Bryce Quinlan, who her best friend is murdered, and this detective kind of hires her is not the right word, but like assigns her to try to solve this murder because he thinks it's tied to a lot of other things, and he assigns her a bodyguard that is a fallen angel, and the story goes from there. But I'm sure you've heard about this, you've heard of Sarah J. Maas, you've heard of the series. I liked the first book, okay. The second book was kind of weird. Third book, we'll see. Because I'm trying to keep my TBRs reasonable, because I end up averaging about 5 books a month. The next book is just going to be our shelf pick for the Sprayed Edges Shelf Challenge. If you're new here, what I've been doing is I put all of the book boxes that I get and I haul, I put the names of the books in here, and then I try to draw one every month and read one every month. It doesn't always happen. Things get in the way, my TBR gets out of control, but I try to read them so that I can start reading down my sprayed edges and they're not just sitting there and looking pretty and they're actually being used. So let me just go ahead and do that. This always makes me nervous. I don't know why. Probably because I'm a mood reader, right? Okay, so I drew We Could Be Villains, but I did read that. So I'm gonna put that aside. Sometimes I fill this out and then I can't, it's hard to like sort them again. All right. I don't know if I want to read this. So I got Duel with the Vampire Lord by Elise Kova. I don't know if I want to read this. All right, I'm not sure I want to read this, but that's okay. So we got The Duel with the Vampire Lord by Elise Kova. So let me go ahead and get that real quick. Okay, so Duel with the Vampire Lord is the third book in the Married to Magic series. This one obviously has vampires. These are the Fave Crate editions, but essentially all of these books follow a different person that ends up getting taken into the, what is he? Oh, what's the world called? Midscape. Okay. So in the world of Midscape, there's all these magical creatures. The first one, it was an elf. The second one, it was fae. And then there are like talk of the vampires that haven't been seen for years. And so people think that they're gone. But this one has a vampire, which is going to be interesting. And then it continues to follow all of these mythical creatures. I think the fourth one is a siren duke, and the fifth one that is coming out this year, I think, is a werewolf. So it's all these like magical married things. I don't know the premise of this, so let me see. So I guess the main character is works with protecting vampire hunters. She's a forge maiden, which is super cool, and it is for her skill that arms and protects the vampire hunters. And the vampire comes to kill her brother, and she wants to stop this, and she offers her own life instead, but the vampire lord wants her, not her life. So she is kidnapped and brought to the vampire castle, and I'm sure things unfold from there. So my experience with these has been like, they're good, they're cute, but they're not like mind-boggling, mind-blowing, but hopefully this will be good. I'm curious about this one a little bit more than the other two. This one seems a lot more kind of enemies to lovers, knife to throat situation, so I'm excited about this. I think it'll be good. We'll see. And I will get back to you on it. Well, those are all the books that I'm hoping to read in January. Maybe I can read more, maybe I won't read any of these, who knows. But thank you all so much for a fantastic 2023. It's been great reading with you all, seeing your thoughts and opinions on books, getting recommendations, or just being able to dialogue with you with books that we did read together. And here is to a fantastic 2024. But that is it for today's video. Please like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I will see you next time. Stay safe and caffeinated. Bye.